Hi y'all, so you're back here in the episode of Indigo Podcast, and today the topic of this video is sometimes you have to work smarter. Because I just realized earlier in the gym, I was just going through my workout and just, I don't know, because in the gym, sometimes you might lose a rep or sometimes you might gain a rep or whatever. Progress isn't linear, so I don't know, I was just realizing that maybe, because you can go to RPE 10, RPE 9, or 0 reps left in reserve, whatever the case may be. I just realized maybe I should be a bit more intentional when I go to failure, because if you go to failure on every single set, the fatigue could linger depending on how many sets you're doing. But anyway, I just thought of that when I was doing that, because effort's a big thing in lifting. That's honestly the main driver of growth in my opinion, other than volume. So I was thinking of this because you have to be smart in the gym. You can't just throw a program out. I mean, obviously you're not trying to find a perfect program or whatever, but you can't just do jumping jacks on a medicine ball with a bench press added in. Like it just doesn't work like that. You have to be smart, intentional, but you still have to work hard. But anyway, I'm gonna get into that a little bit later. But first thing I'm gonna get into, not all habits are good habits, because I just realized this a bit more recently. Some habits are the way you approach things in life may have to be completely removed or changed to keep on progressing and learning as you go on. Because I just think we, as human beings, we get into routines and we get into certain modes of things that we think are serving us well, and a lot of them might be obviously like consistency. That's always going to serve you well. I'm not about to blabber about that. You already know how I feel about that. But intentionality, discipline, there's certain routines and things that I'm not saying that you should break all your routines, because I ain't gonna lie, that's going to create utter chaos, and it's going to be dysfunctional, and you're not even going to know what to do. Like, there's certain caveats to this, but there is certain things, like maybe you could work on your running form, maybe you could work on your lifting form, maybe, like I just said, you should probably drop to 1 rep left in reserve and then take your last set to failure, because that fatigue is carrying on. That's a smart approach, instead of just saying, oh, I'm gonna go to failure just because it benefits my ego, because I go to failure and I just feel like I'm $1,000,000. So I mean, it's cool, it could be applied in certain situations, but it might be of your benefit to reduce the effort on that first set so you can go all out in the last one being consistently good. So these habits could just be paralysis by analysis, just getting sucked into a rabbit hole trying to find the most perfect diet or the most perfect fitness regimen or the most perfect running schedule. Because in the moment, just from experience, like if you're in a mode of paralysis by analysis, it feels like you're getting somewhere. It feels like you're learning the most vital information ever, the most dire information ever. It feels like you're like actually getting somewhere, but in reality, these are things that don't even serve you well, because you're trying to find the most perfect thing and just add on to things and make things more complex. In reality, obviously, I made a whole episode about it. Simplicity is better than making things complex. I mean, obviously there are some complexities you can get into, like maybe you might add more volume to your sets, or maybe you're gonna add more 800-meter repeats or whatever. There's certain times you want a red line or whatever, but overall, I think when habits start not benefiting you, I think it's a mode of you trying to make things complex and overanalyze and overthink things and just kind of overreach in a sense, when in reality it's not even reality, but it's not even the point, and it's not even the point in time to do that. You know what I mean? Because I mean, like I just said, certain habits might seem like they serve you well. In reality, in the grand scheme of things, they might not be serving you well. Like maybe, I don't know. The first thing that comes to mind is a eating disorder. Because the thing is, when you're in the mode of an eating disorder, you think, oh, you starving yourself and you exercising a lot and you just being overly restrictive. It feels like you're doing the right thing, because just in your head, it's just you're kind of out of control. Like you're not fully there. Like it's just you're being controlled by the eating disorder. It's not you controlling the food and how you go about your diet. So since you're in that mode, you feel like what you're doing is right. In reality, is actually hurting you and is slowly killing you. And I just think a lot of habits, like people maybe drinking or smoking or going out to eat fast food every day, they might feel like that's the right thing, or maybe they don't. Maybe they think that's, well, not even think. Maybe they know that's not the right thing, but they're just in a habit of doing that. That's just become the norm. I just think there's a lot of norms that aren't really beneficial, and if someone comes in or themselves, changes the trajectory of it, they could, gain more growth in life and actually see things through and, get closer to things they actually want to achieve. And I just think it can be hard to let go of certain customs or ways you do things in life. But I just think it's an instance of taking 2 steps back to take 3 steps forward, because there's a lot of things, I don't know, I just think a lot of training, because I think, well, I'll get into this in the second thing, but it's just when you're redlining and you're going hard on things, you might feel like you're getting somewhere. In reality, where, like, what's the intention behind your effort? At certain times you might have to take a deload, or you might have to take a rest day or a recovery day and pull back so you can go even further, instead of, because I've done things like, I might do an extra rep, or, sometimes it's harmless, but sometimes, let's say you have a race tomorrow and you're like, oh, I'm about to run extra hard in these reps, or I'm about to do extra reps. That wouldn't be smart, in my opinion, because you're hindering the big goal you're trying to go after. So I just think, certain times you might think something is right, or you might not, you might even know it's wrong, but it's just the fact that you're in the norm of it, and it's just been normal in society that people just keep doing it because they're just in the mode of doing it. In reality, you got to invite change and adapt, and you just got to, be real with yourself and be like, all right, is this really benefiting me? And, what's the intent behind this? What's the why behind this? I ain't gonna lie, it's super hot in my room right now. I feel very insulated right now. So, I don't know, I just had to make that comment because I'm talking and I'm getting super hot. But anyway, yeah, I just think a lot of norms in society and a lot of things, even, I guess, people as high performers, people that really want to get after it, people that really want to, be something in life and really want to, change and evolve and progress. I just think a lot of times, just from experience, we kind of get in our own way and we do things because I think a lot of people, that try to really, try in life and really get something out of life and really be something, they get in their own way because we're stubborn and we're like, oh, it has to be this way. In reality, you might have to pull back, or you might have to change things to get what you want. And then, it's just being stubborn. Like I just mentioned, I think I mentioned a couple podcasts ago, it's a strength, but in some instances it can be a caveat. It can be kind of a thing you have to consider, and a thing you have to kind of mitigate at times. Be all right, be a little bit more rational about things. Still work hard, but be rational, be deliberate, intentional, and just be more in control of what you're doing, and just have a more rational reason behind what you're doing. But second thing, I kind of went on to this in the last part, effort and redlining, and I think a perfect example for this is training. In terms of running, like I've said this in my full breakdown video if you haven't seen it, but it's known that you should run your easy days easy. So if you have some easy miles, like this morning I had 4 miles easy. I ran it at a zone 2 conversational pace, like it was low effort or whatever. And run your hard days hard, like I had a fartlek workout Tuesday that was at a 5:52 average, so that's a harder effort. That's obviously a faster effort. So I just think this is a great example of redlining and a poor distribution of intent of effort. So, well, that wasn't the example, but that was kind of the me painting the picture. But the example is someone just running their easy days extremely hard, and so they're just gasping for air. So let's say your coach says, "Hey, we're running 6 miles easy at for you that's an 8 minute." Oops, my fault. 8 minute per mile pace, and you decide, okay, I'm about to run this at a 6:30 pace, and you get to the line, you're done, and you're just gassed, you're cooked. And when it's time for you to go to your workouts, or go, do some intervals or some tempo workouts or whatever the case may be, basically your hard days or whatever, you're going to be super under recovered and you're just going to be gassed going into it. So you can't actually show up for it and get the benefits from it. So I just think not every part of your life will be a sprint. You won't always have to redline just to try and prove to others or whatever the case may be, or just prove to yourself that you're enough. I think, just me personally, just kind of learning things. And I think I heard it in Nick Bear's podcast because he got hit by a car or whatever. So he kind of learned that being content is really important in life, and it's not an instance, it's not a mode of being complacent. I think a lot of times, when, just from experience, me redlining or me, overreaching a bit when I didn't necessarily, not have to, but it wasn't the point in time for it. It was not out of a means to gain more from it, or a means to, get better. I mean, obviously, I'm trying to get better, and people are trying to get better, but I feel like a lot of the times it's a means out of people feeling like they're not worth enough. People feeling like, oh, just people not being aware of the cool things they've done. Like, obviously, like I mentioned before, kind of how I started this, it's not in a means to be complacent, just get comfortable and lay back and just let things go haywire. But I think a lot of times when people redline when they're not supposed to, and redline in, moments of their life that isn't required to forge growth and get to where they want to be, it's out of a feeling of just feeling unworthy and feeling unsure of yourself and feeling like you're not who you say you are. And I just realized that just from experience and just things I've heard. I just feel like when people try and take their easy days hard, or, whatever the case may be, I just think it's kind of your ego taking over and you trying to be like, oh, I'm like, just you fighting the mode of you feeling like you're unworthy, or just whatever the case may be. But I just realized that it doesn't even come from a place of betterment. It comes from a place of feeling lost, and a place of being, not being, but just feeling like you're not who you say you are, and you're not really worth it. You know what I mean? It was kind of a hard way to put it, but I think you kind of get what I'm trying to say. But I just think not every part of your life is meant to be a sprint. Because if every part of your life was meant to be a sprint, it wouldn't be sustainable and it wouldn't be a rational approach. But I just think this is where being consistently good instead of occasionally great comes in. Not just putting in the effort, but putting in the right effort. Because, I mean, you can put in effort, but if it's not enough and you're just halving it, or it's too much and you're gassing yourself out, you're not going to gain anything from it, because you're either going to be redlining or it's not enough. So I just think knowing when to sprint and knowing when to work at a more natural pace, and just being aware of what type of effort needs to be at that point of time is really key. And I think it'll, make a more sustainable approach of things. It's just, it could be running, it could be making music, just whatever. I just think, like I said, it's important to work hard, but it needs to be, I guess, a mode of smartness behind it. I don't know why that was funny to me, but, I just think you learn, you live, you adapt, you adjust. I mean, I think the main thing is just being aware, and if there's a problem, just being able to, be real with yourself, evaluate it, and then adapt from there. But the third thing I want to get into is black and white thinking. And if you don't know what black and white thinking is, it's basically just a case of thinking in extremes. So, for example, someone just saying, I'm going to eat only salads every day, or I'm going to only eat an all meat diet, or I'll never eat ice cream again. These are very end all be all extremes that is just like, okay, either this or not, either yay or nay, either one or two. Like, it's a hard yes or no. You know what I'm saying? So I just don't think black and white thinking should be confused with holding a standard, because holding a standard is a means of being all in your pursuit to progress, evolve, learn, and achieve said goal you want. But on the other hand, black and white thinking is a more unrationed, unintentional, unsustainable extreme, and a means of being all consumed instead of, in control and just intentional and deliberate in your approach. And I just think working smarter involves adopting a sustainable, rational, intentional, yet effective and efficient approach that you can hold on to for an extended period of time. Now, there should be some guidelines and sacrifices, but I don't think you should be all consumed. I think there's a difference between being all in and being all consumed. Because if you're all consumed, you're out of control. You're out of the driver's seat. You're just kind of throwing stuff out there and just doing stuff. You know what I mean? You're spinning your wheels. But if you're all in, you're intentional. You're sure. Obviously, you might not be fully sure whenever you try something. If, let's say you first pick up a new hobby. Let's say you start picking up pickleball. I don't know, and you're kind of unsure of where it'll go. But the thing is, you have a why of why you're doing that. And I feel like if you're all consumed, the why is gone. It's just you just kind of, you're on autopilot. You're just kind of floating. And you're just kind of going with the flow of things instead of, being very, very aware and very intentional of what you're doing and why you're doing it. Now, I think you should be obsessed and driven to your goals. I don't think that should go anywhere, but I don't think you should be paralyzed and robotic in your pursuit. And black and white thinking doesn't invite change and adaptation. It invites rigidity, and it invites either one or two, or ice cream or no ice cream. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just end all be all. It's not, and it's not the gray area, because I think life is in the gray area. Like I mentioned before, it's a lot of variations, a lot of things that might be tailored to one person, a lot of things that might not be tailored to one person. It's very different, and you have to be open to change and open to learning and open to adapting just based on the circumstance. You can't just, I don't think you can be married to one approach or one method of doing things, because it might change over time based on, the circumstance. So that's kind of what I wanted to say for the third part. But the fourth one, I ain't gonna lie, I think this is a big one. Paralysis by analysis. And I just think with the overload of information just around fitness, diet, mindset, training, whatever the case may be, whatever, it's so easy to fall into a trap of just wanting everything to be 100% optimized and perfect. And it's easy to want to search for the most optimal way and just the best way of doing things before you even get started. And I just think perfection often leads to rigidity and being paralyzed, just in a mode of hyper analyzing things that really are insignificant and don't really force a needle in your life. And I think the focus shouldn't be perfection, but it should be progress. The focus should be just consistently stacking bricks, consistently stacking imperfect bricks. The thing is, some days, let's say you work towards a painting, you might not paint the best way that day in your eyes. You might not, whatever. I ain't gonna lie, painting isn't the best example because I don't paint. I'm going to use running because I run. So you're running and your legs are a little bit more heavy than usual. You might feel a little bit fatigued. I'm not saying like you're gassed out, like you're not feeling the best, but that's still a consistent brick, even though it's imperfect. And I just think the goal is to just put yourself out there and just get after it. Like, I don't think the point should be, oh, I'm shooting 100% from the line every single day, because Steph Curry doesn't make every shot. You know what I'm saying? That I ain't gonna lie, that's kind of corny. But anyway, it's just like not every shot you shoot is gonna go in. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, I think the most important thing should just be being consistently good, being consistent, and being okay with messing up. Because I think a lot of just societal norms has been, I think it probably has gone away a little bit since time has progressed, but just when I was younger, it's like, oh, if you fail this test, or oh, if you fail this, you're done. Like, you might as well say goodbye. You know what I'm saying? And I just think it's not like that. I think failure is really the opportunity to grow, and really the instance where you learn about yourself, and really the instance you learn about, okay, this works, this doesn't work, and you just kind of tailor it from there. And I just noticed from experience, when you're in a mode of paralysis by analysis, working smarter just goes out the window. Your mind just kind of goes away, and you're just kind of just in a robotic state. You're just kind of just doing things with no intent or no wherewithal behind it, And honestly, me personally, I'm still working on this myself, but I just think a good way to get out of this, I'm gonna, start implementing. Hopefully, gonna start implementing. I just think is to pick something and mess up along the way. Be okay with messing up, especially if you're new to something. Because I just think, just over the years, a lot of people might be scared of being made fun of. But I just think that's a part of it. It's the part of the learning curve. You have to put yourself out there and see, okay, this works. Maybe this doesn't work. Now, I'm not saying you can't study the greats that came before you and, learn. Because the thing is, I think that's the purpose of it. I was talking to my dad the other day, me now, the stuff I'm doing now, when my kids get older, I can tell them, hey, you shouldn't do this, and you should not waste your time doing this, because you're going to waste your time, obviously. So I just think, honestly, when you do mess up, you can tell other people and share it with other people, like I share on the podcast, or maybe I'll share on Instagram or whatever. It's just letting people know and giving people the knowledge so they don't have to go through what you went through, and they can, keep it pushing. Now, obviously, that doesn't mean no one else will go through adversity, but it's just saving people the time, saving people the energy of doing things wrong when you experience something, and you could maybe help them later down the line. But I just think when you try to be perfect, you'll never get anything done. And I just think done is better than perfect. Just getting the foot out the front door and just getting started. A lot of people, when they get into a mode of paralysis by analysis, they don't even get started. They're so paralyzed that they can't even get started, and they're never done, because they're just searching for that perfect thing. In reality, the perfect thing is just progress, getting 1% better every day, being consistent. Because I just think if you try and find the best diet, or you're trying to find the best shoes, or whatever the case may be, you're going to be stuck, and you're going to be spinning your wheels instead of just taking it one step at a time. But fifth thing I want to end this episode off with is, listen, you still need hard work. Hard work doesn't go anywhere. So I just think just because working hard is important, but working smarter is important, doesn't mean that hard work goes out the window. Okay, this is an instance where I want to say that not combating, but adding working smarter to working harder is very important, because I hear a lot of people, well, it's kind of gone away, because I think as time progresses, more science comes out and people kind of learn things and realize, okay, this is just a societal norm that doesn't really serve us well at all. Some good examples could just be you sweating after a lifting session, or you being extremely sore, you redlining during an easy run. You feel like you're working hard. In reality, you're spinning your wheels because, like I said earlier, there's no intent, there's no really thought behind it. And I think hard work is required, but it has to be strategic and it has to be intentional. But nonetheless, I don't think anything will ever beat hard work and consistency, but it cannot be mindless. It can't just be you throwing random efforts out there and you not being aware of why you're doing something, or why you're bringing this effort, or what type of effort you're bringing to the table. And I just think if you work towards something mindlessly without a sense of working smart, there's no direction and there's no why behind your actions. There's no drive behind your actions. You're just throwing stuff out there hoping it goes in. And I just think hard work will never go anywhere, but I feel like if you don't have a mode of working smart, now this doesn't mean by working smarter, like I said, I don't mean you dig yourself in a hole and just look for certain things to try and meticulously make things perfect, but I think it's a mode of being rational, being sustainable, and being realistic depending on your situation, not looking at other situations and trying to compare yourself to them just because they might be ahead or they might be behind or whatever the case may be. Is you attributing it to you and seeing, okay, does this work for me? And obviously there's some guidelines, like maybe with nutrition, like you should eat whole foods, eat a little bit more vegetables, eat a little bit more fruits, eat more unprocessed foods, whatever the case may be. We're running the 80-20 rule. You should run 80% of your mileage easy, 20% of your mileage at harder efforts. There's some gray areas, but there might be some tailorments due to whatever circumstance you have. And I just think that's when working smarter comes in. Now, you still have to work hard, but that's when working smarter comes in, and that's when a more deliberate approach, a more rational, and not a so black and white approach of, oh, it has to be this way, and you're just being married to approach reality. You have to be open to learning. You have to be open to, okay, this doesn't serve me well. Maybe I should drop this and learn something else and change it a little bit. But that's what I wanted to say for this episode. Sometimes you have to work harder, because I kind of had an epiphany when I was lifting earlier, just thinking, effort is important, but the type of effort you bring, when you bring that effort, and the point in time you put that effort forward, and just the intention behind it is really important. And I don't know, me just lifting weights and then that just made me kind of think of that. So I just wanted to share that with y'all, because I just think a lot of people work super hard, but they're working super hard all the time. Hold on. Whoa. Obviously, you're going to work hard all the time, but there's certain levels to it. You don't want to go RPE 10 all out every single run, every single lift. You're not going to hit a 1 rep max every single lift, because the fatigue will carry on and it will slowly destroy you. And I just think being consistently good is a main thing of that, being intentional with your effort, being rational with your effort, and just being aware of what type of efforts you're bringing. But anyway, that was the episode. I'm going to leave it there for this one, and see you guys next time.